¿Hay cariño o no hay cariño? We are celebrating our Hispanic Month Heritage Celebration. I appreciate the fact that I'm here. Me siento sumamente orgulloso de ser hijos de puertorriqueños. Mi papi que está aquí visitando a uno de sus amigos recientemente es de Bayamón, Puerto Rico, a Toteja, La Cuchilla, y mami es del Tuque, allá en Ponce. I just want to say this, that during this month, and I see a lot of folks with their kids here, this is the time now where we have to do more than just celebrate. We should do more than just eat. We all know how to eat good food. We need to do more than just dance and listen to music. During this time, this is a time of reflection. This should be a time that's a teachable moment to all of our kids about who we are as a people and who our brothers and sisters are in Latin and Hispanic cultures, and who our predecessors were. Who are the people whose shoulders we stand on? It's good to be here in Lincoln Hospital, which is a pillar and an institution here in our beloved Bronx, El Condado de la Salsa. Every time I walk through the main entrance, I remember when Abuelita was here, and God rest her soul. And my brother and I, we were too young. They wouldn't let us upstairs. I'm sorry, security, but we used to always try to, we would wait for somebody to go when the elevators were jam-packed, and you would look the other way, and we would run through the other side and go up the stairs so we could be upstairs with Abuelita. This is an institution that's provided health care for so many thousands and hundreds of thousands over the years. This is an institution that only exists because of the fight of so many giants who are no longer with us. I remember Georgie's around there somewhere. Where's Georgie? Georgie. My mother used to be an assistant nurse at the old Lincoln Hospital. This is an institution that's provided jobs so that our communities can feed their families and send your kids to go off to college and do something more and something bigger than what the parents and grandparents were able to do. There's a time now where we should pay homage and respect to those individuals who fought the good fight. Ramón S. Vélez, Elena Valentín, Herman Badillo, Olga Méndez, Evelina Antonetti, Antonia Pantoja. If your kids don't know these names, they should know these names. If your kids are only reflecting on what they see in terms of athletes and musicians, you should let them know that you would not have a Lin-Manuel Miranda without José Ferrer. José Ferrer won all these awards in the 1950s, a Puerto Rican actor, not because he played the classic Puerto Rican role of Pedro Navaja, but because he did things like Cyrano de Bergerac, Shakespearean acting. Think about that. Think about a Puerto Rican, José Ferrer, in the 1950s, winning all kinds of awards for Cyrano de Bergerac. If you like Lin-Manuel, and I love Lin-Manuel, then celebrate José Ferrer. Celebrate Raúl Julia. If you like Jennifer Lopez, then you gotta celebrate Rita Moreno. Your kids need to know these names. Your kids need to know that we come from giants. Your kids should know that we have individuals like Elena Ochoa, who's the first, not just female, the first Hispanic astronaut. Think about that. Think about dreaming going to the moon and going out of space. If you teach them that Elena Ochoa existed and worked at NASA and was out there in outer space and flew several missions, then your kids, especially your daughters, will feel like they could do the same. You look at the color television a Mexican inventor. The same color television that people go on and day in and day out and try to make fun of us as Latinos. You should know the name of Guillermo Gonzalez Camarena. You should know the name of Dr. Luis Federico, who won the Nobel Prize for his discovery in sugar in our cells. We come from giants. We come from a strong pedigree. Papi, who's here with his cowboy hat. Everybody asks, why the cowboy hat? That's because that's his way, his proud way of walking around in Amish's hometown. Because in Bayamón, you have los vaqueros de Bayamón. So if you did not know, and if you just think that it's a fashion statement, and it is, it's deeper than that. It's about a man who came here, who struggled, whose daughter went to and became a sergeant in the NYPD, whose son became a supervisor in the New York City Housing Authority, and whose baby became the 13th borough president of the Boogie Down Bronx and Condado de la Salsa. This is a month now where if you're Puerto Rican, you got to celebrate the Dominican Republic. You got to celebrate Mexico. You should celebrate Ecuador. You should celebrate all of us. Because trust me, if we're not together, nobody's going to fight our battles for us. El corito, quítate tú pa ponerme yo. That should no longer apply. I'll stop with this. September 30th, 2017 was an epic day here in our borough. Why? Because the week before, we had the hurricane hit Puerto Rico, Hurricane Maria. And Papi called me a couple of nights before that and he said, well, we got to do something like we always do in Southern Boulevard and Aldous with the ministers. And all we wanted to do was fill up tres furgones, llenar los furgones, enviarlo a Puerto Rico, y un camión para nuestros hermanos que son víctimas en México. That's all we wanted to do. We called on the community, and everybody came together. Not only did we fill up those 3 containers in that truck, but we raised over 300,000 pounds of supplies and water on that little corner in the South Bronx. 300,000 pounds. Together we did that. And it was great because we had Garifu now. We had Mexicans, we had Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and African Americans and Muslims, and we had rap stars with Pentecostal ministers working together during times of crisis and tragedy and calamity and catastrophe. The very best of humanity comes out. It's just God's way of testing us. And so we send 2 trucks to Mexico. And we send the furgones to Puerto Rico, but we got the National Guard, and last Friday we were able to load up a plane, 217,000 pounds of what we collected. We went out there. I went out with Fat Joe and Romeo Santos. And let me tell you something, don't get discouraged. But when I got over there and I saw the eyes of my cousins and saw the faces of the family of Fat Joe and others that we spoke to, it became very clear to me that the day that the hurricane hit Puerto Rico was actually the easy part, believe it or not. And when you look at the late response, when you look at the fact that they trivialize, the president has trivialized the amount of disaster and the amount of destruction, when you look at the fact that there's not enough boots on the ground over there, and people don't have something as simple as water. They just gave me a bottle of water. Gracias. You just gave me a bottle of water. Something as simple as a bottle of water, they do not have there. Something is fundamentally wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, yes, it's Puerto Rico, and we need a lot of help. But something is terribly wrong about the psychology and the mindset of how some people still view us as Latinos. We come from all parts of Latin America and Central America. And we come with different shades of skin. You think about how Papi from Bayamon looks so dark, and Mami from Ponce is so light-skinned, and every shade in between. You think about if you're Dominican, some Dominicans are dark, and some are light, and every shade in between. But we here in the United States, we here in the city, we have to let people know that collectively we are a permanent fiber in the fabric of this society. Y al que no le guste, you know the rest of that saying. I love and respect everything that everyone has done in order to help me get to where I'm at. I love and cherish and respect all of the giants, many of who we've lost, whose shoulders I stand on. I appreciate the recognition that you give me here today. There is a certain weight that I carry on a daily basis. Sometimes you may not know that. Trust me, I was raised the right way. There's a certain anxiety, una inquietud, that I walk around with every single day to make sure that I don't embarrass the amount of labor, the blood, sweat, and tears that would put behind so that someone could have the opportunity that I have today. God bless you, and keep with the fight. Gracias.